The Headless Ghost of Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn, born believed in 1507, was the second wife of King Henry VIII, and therefore Queen of England until her unfortunate death on the 15th of May 1536. The current King of England of this time, King Henry VIII, had begun his first marriage with Cathrine of Aragon, but was unhappy in this marriage due to the fact that she was in the normal process of aging. Due to King Henry's desperate desire to father a son to heir to his throne after his death, he began to seek an annulment to divorce Catherine. During this time, Anne Boleyn had returned to live in England after spending most of her childhood in France and had found a home in Henry's court and was extremely popular with many of the men. Her desire to marry Lord Henry Percy was prevented by Cardinal Wolsey under orders of King Henry, who had fallen in love with Anne. Henry was desperate for a divorce from his marriage of Catherine, and for 6 years was blocked by the Pope Clement VII, refusing his annulment. But during this time he was just falling deeper and deeper in love with Anne. On January 25th, 1533, Henry and Anne were secretly married, and on May 23rd, Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Cranmer, pronounced Henry's marriage to Catherine voided, meaning he was finally removed from Queen Catherine and welcomed Queen Anne Boleyn. In September of 1533, Anne gave birth to a daughter named Elizabeth, the future Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth I. But Henry was not happy. He wanted a son. He had also begun to lose his love for Anne, possibly due to her birthing a daughter, and began to regularly meet with other women. In 1534, they tried again to birth a son, but Anne unfortunately miscarried, and later in 1536, after another attempt, had birthed a boy, who was unfortunately stillborn. Enraged by this and fueled by his dying love for Anne, Henry imprisoned her in the Tower of London on May 2nd, 1536, and charged her with adultery of various men and rumoured her to have incestuous relations with her own brother, and was anonymously convicted to beheading on May 19th, 17 days after imprisoned. Her charges were never proved to be true, and 10 days later, Henry remarried. Blicking Hall is said to be an extreme hotspot for ghostly sightings, with our most notorious Anne Boleyn, as it is believed to be her birthplace. It is said that her ghost returns on May 19th, the anniversary of her execution, and during the night, her ghost rides up to the front doors of the manor in a horse-drawn carriage driven by a headless rider. When looking into the carriage, Anne Boleyn is seen headless, holding her own head in her lap. Once the carriage reaches the front doors, her carriage disappears. Anne is also supposedly seen as young and beautiful when her apparition appears outside of the date of May 19th, and is also seen in other locations, such as the Tower of London where she was imprisoned. It's said there she has been seen by a guard on duty, hovering towards him in a white dress. He quickly acted by charging at her with a bayonet, but after passing straight through her, he fainted at the sight of her, and was almost prosecuted by his superior guards with the abandonment of his post. Blicking Hall, however, isn't just known as the sighting of Anne Boleyn's ghost, it is also said to have spotted the ghost of Sir Thomas, Anne Boleyn's father, who had been cursed to wander the hall and damned across the 12 bridges across the route, spanning from Blicking to Wroxham, after failing to prevent the execution of his children. This route is a 4-hour walk, where he's been spotted in multiple locations across it. Furthermore, other ghostly apparitions have been seen here, including Sir John Falstaff, an inspiration to Shakespeare's play titled Flagstaff, and it is said to have been that you can hear loud, dying, desperate groans within the halls.